I never expected to learn the hardest lesson of my life from a monk. I met him in a remote temple, perched on the edge of a mist-covered mountain. The wind whispered through the pines as I approached him, my mind racing with urgent questions. My heart was heavy with the weight of choices I believed I had to make. He looked at me with eyes that seemed to hold the calm of centuries. In that silence I felt exposed, as if every thought I had tried to hide was laid bare. Then he spoke, and what he said shook me in ways I wasn't ready to understand. He said, "You are running from yourself." The words felt like a hammer striking the glass walls I had built around my life. Running from yourself? I repeated, my voice trembling. What do you mean? He smiled faintly and gestured for me to sit on the stone steps beside him. The mist curled around us like a living veil, softening the jagged cliffs below. I realized that the world outside was a mirror of the storm inside me. He said quietly, "Tell me, why do you chase happiness?" I thought I had the answer. I believed I was chasing dreams, success, love, fulfillment. Yet as I opened my mouth, I hesitated. He did not press. He waited. And in that waiting, I heard the truth I had been avoiding. I was not chasing happiness. I was chasing distractions, illusions, fragments. These kept me from confronting the raw, unpolished reality of who I was. My mind recoiled at the thought because it was easier to blame circumstances. Easier to imagine that life was cruel. Easier to keep moving than to stop and see myself clearly. The monk noticed my discomfort and laughed softly, a sound that harmonized with the rustling leaves. "You are afraid of stillness," he said. "Yet stillness is not emptiness. It is a doorway." I stared at him, unsure whether I was hearing words or feeling them in my bones. He continued, "Most people spend their lives moving in circles, running toward what they believe will save them, never realizing that what they fear to face is already within them. You cannot outrun your own shadow. It grows wherever you go." The words hit me like cold rain. I had been running for years from failure, from pain, from the quiet voice that whispered truths I didn't want to hear. I had filled my days with noise, with constant activity, with achievements that felt hollow. Because I was trying to avoid the reflection of myself staring back from the still waters of my soul. So what should I do? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He turned to me, and for a long moment he said nothing, only looking beyond me. Then he spoke. "Stop running. Face what you have hidden. And when you do, you will realize that all you thought you needed is already within you. But you will not see this truth until you are ready to feel the discomfort of your own presence." The words burned. They were not comforting. They were not easy. But in that burning, I sensed liberation, the kind that only comes when illusions fall away, and you are left with the raw essence of life. I stayed silent for a long time, listening to the wind, to the distant call of a bird, to the rhythm of my own heartbeat. Slowly, I began to understand. My life had been a labyrinth, and only by facing it, only by sitting in the quiet, could I find the exit. I realized that life does not give clarity to those who seek it in distraction. Clarity comes to those who are willing to confront the shadows, to feel the discomfort, to embrace the stillness that reveals the self hidden beneath the noise. Do you know why most people cannot stop running? The monk asked. Because they believe stillness is punishment, because they mistake discomfort for danger. But discomfort is the language of growth. It is the voice of truth speaking through fear. Only by sitting with it can you become whole. I closed my eyes and imagined my life as a river, fast and turbulent, crashing over rocks. Never pausing, never noticing the reflections in its surface. I realized that I had been that river, exhausting myself in motion, never daring to look down. Never daring to see what lay beneath. "When you face yourself," he said, "you may discover things you have tried to bury. Regrets, anger, sorrow. You may confront choices that haunt you, relationships that hurt you, truths you have denied. This is not weakness. This is the path to strength, to courage, to freedom." I wanted to run from that thought, but the monk's gaze held me in place. "Tell me, what do you fear the most?" he asked. I hesitated. "I fear that I am not enough," I admitted, the words tasting bitter. He nodded slowly, as if he had been expecting this. "Ah," he said, "the great illusion. You believe you must become enough. But you are enough here, now, exactly as you are. The fear is a story your mind tells to avoid the silence that reveals this truth. You are not your thoughts, not your failures, not your mask. You are the witness of all these things. You are the stillness that holds the storm. I felt tears come, unbidden, because for the first time in years I felt seen. Not for what I did or what I had achieved, but for simply being. The monk smiled gently, as though understanding that words could not capture this moment. Life will not stop testing you, he said. It will continue to challenge, to push, to shake. But the moment you stop running, the moment you look inward and embrace all that you are, you become unshakable. The storm cannot reach the root of the tree that stands in its own soil. I imagine myself as that tree, deeply rooted, unafraid of the wind, accepting the rain, the sun, the seasons of life, because I had finally found the soil within. So how do I begin? I asked. Begin by sitting, he replied simply. Sit in silence. Sit with your fears, sit with your joy, sit with your uncertainty. And in that sitting, listen. Listen to the subtle truths that life whispers, but your mind ignores. The truth will be uncomfortable. It will demand courage. It will demand patience, but it will also set you free. I left the temple that day with no new answers, no miraculous solutions, no secret formula for happiness. But I carried something infinitely more powerful: awareness. The awareness that my mind had been a labyrinth, and only by facing it, only by sitting in the quiet, could I find the exit. Days turned into weeks, and I practiced. I sat in silence, facing thoughts I had long avoided, allowing emotions to flow without resistance. I noticed patterns I had ignored, assumptions I had clung to, fears I had named as obstacles. Each session was like peeling layers from an onion. Sometimes bringing tears, sometimes bringing laughter, sometimes bringing the raw, naked truth that life is neither cruel nor kind, but simply is. And in that practice, I began to feel a shift, a subtle, almost imperceptible change. The contradictions and the endless mystery of life. I began to understand that the monk's words were not just advice. They were a mirror. They reflected not a path outside, but a path inside. A path of courage, of authenticity, of radical honesty with oneself. I realized that we all live in self-imposed prisons, crafted from fear, doubt, and the stories we tell ourselves. And yet, the key is always within reach, in the willingness to stop, to face, and to embrace. One day, as I sat watching the sunset paint the horizon in shades of fire and gold, I felt a quiet joy I had never known. It was not excitement, nor the thrill of achievement, nor the validation of others. It was the simple, profound peace of being present. I understood that life's greatest lesson is often the one we resist the most. You must stop running to find yourself. And in that stopping, everything changes. I want to leave you with this question because it has the power to shift the way you see your own life. What are you running from? What are the voices in your mind that you avoid, the truths you push aside, the stillness you fear? Sit with them, face them, and you may discover that what you were seeking outwardly has been waiting for you inside all along. Every storm you face, every challenge, every moment of discomfort is a teacher. The monk didn't give me a map or a plan. He gave me a mirror and the courage to look. And that is a lesson that changes everything. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this: stillness is not weakness. Silence is not emptiness. Confronting yourself is not punishment. It is the doorway to freedom, the key to presence, the path to a life lived fully, authentically, awake. So today, pause, sit, breathe, ask yourself the hard questions. Feel the discomfort, and trust that the answers, the clarity, the strength you seek are already within you, waiting for the moment you stop running and start seeing. Thank you for sharing these moments with me. If this story touched you, if it sparked a thought or stirred an emotion, I invite you to comment below, share your own experiences, your own reflections. Let's create a space where we face ourselves together, where we sit with the questions life asks, and where we grow stronger through awareness. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Echoes of Greatness, because here we explore the lessons that awaken the mind, nourish the spirit, and inspire the courage to live fully. Hit that bell icon so you won't miss the next story, the next insight, the next invitation to look within. Remember, life isn't about what you chase, it's about who you become when you stop running. And in that stillness, you find the power, the clarity, and the freedom to live a life that truly matters.